Hey everybody, it's Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and it is Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which means it's time for another video. Let me go ahead and move this back into the screen where it belongs. It's like my Mark 1 eyeball is not very calibrated. All right, let me just double check off to the left here to be sure that we are transmitilating and going out onto the interwebs so that, this is worth doing for y'all. Here we go. Oh yes, it looks like we're good. And we have 21 people on, so apparently I was really late. I am sorry about that. Let me see if I can see comments. There we go. Hey Kristen, hi Tish, hi Debbie, and I've missed a bunch of other comments. I'm so sorry. I'll catch you as you come. Hi Mary, Pam, Kathy, appreciate you joining. Donna, hello. Lovely, cool, overcast and rainy. Yeah, it's hot here. We've got the air conditioning on, and that bums me out always, so... Donna, appreciate you joining from Saskatchewan, Canada. Patricia and Roz. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you could join me tonight. I hope you are having a good weekend so far. We went to the farmer's market today. It was very interesting. I'd seen a big email from them. You know, they go Wednesday and Saturday, and they said, we're doing social distancing, and everybody will be wearing their mask, and nobody will touch anything, and please leave your pets at home. So we get there, and there's like 70 dogs being walked around, and half of the people don't have masks on, and they're standing around in clusters. It's like, okay, people, come on, man. Let's be real here. Either do it or don't, one or the other. Hey, Brooke. Hey, Janie. Hi, Kathy. Appreciate you joining. And Tanya. Cold and rainy on Vancouver Island. You know, I loved Vancouver when we went there. That was wonderful. I liked it there. Hi, Delinda and Diane. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So the other day, my friend Karen Casanova, I think that's right. And if it isn't Karen, I just apologize straight up. I'm terrible. But she's actually going to stop doing fun folds because every time she does one, I steal the fold from her and do a video on it. So, you know, I'm not very original. I like to case people, apparently. So she did a very pretty card using this fold the other day, and I will link it on my blog tomorrow. But this one's kind of fun. What I really love about it, I like gate cards. I really do enjoy doing a good gate card. Hey, Karen. Thank you. That's very sweet. Hey, Robbie. Hi, Donna. The thing that I love about this particular... Well, okay, let me back up. The thing I don't like about making a gate card is that as a blogger, I need to be able to take pictures of it. And it is not easy to take good pictures of a gate card. And then Karen introduced me to this gate card, and it's wonderful. So let me show you. What I love about it is it's a basic tent card, right? You can stand it up, you can turn it, you can view it, you can do all that. And then you open it up and whoa, it's a gate card on the inside. How fun is that? So I made this. This is a clean and simple with layers would be my description of this for the Paper Players challenge tomorrow. So if you care about a head start, it's clean and simple for the guys with men on the mind. So that's what this is a masculine card, and I have used the World of Good suite, particularly Beautiful World and the bundled World Map dies, which are super fun. Hey, Marianne. It will be hot here until Christmas. Ooh, lordy. Well, you can have that. Hey, Michelle. Hi, Lenny. And then I also used one of the dies, this one in particular, for the sentiment. This is Tasteful Labels, and it is also, these are all in the new annual catalog that was coming in like 3 weeks, right? Isn't it 3 weeks about? Might even be less, like 2.5 weeks. So it's almost time, you guys, almost time. Okay, so let's get started. It's not a very hard card, but there's a lot on it, and so it may take us a minute to get through, so we're going to get started here. Okay, so to start with, all of these card cuts will be on tomorrow's blog, so you don't need to write them down unless you just really want to. Hey, Fran. Oh, I've got a bug. Okay, so we're going to use the Simply Scored board because I like it for these things. You need a full-size sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 11. And in this case, I'm using early espresso because that works. I like it. The first thing you're going to do is along the long side, you're going to score at 5.5. Then you're going to turn it, and you're going to score at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. Do these measurements sound at all familiar? Remember the gate card rule: 4 1/4 between the gate folds in order to create a card that will go in your A2 envelope. Okay. Hey, Kathy, you might get a surprise in the mail in the next few days. Okay. All right. So we've got that done, and I'm going to put my scoreboard aside and replace it on my desktop with my trimmer. Okay. Now, I'm not real sure if you can see this. Probably not. But what we have is a score and score and score. Okay, actually I can show you the template that I took a picture of. So here you go. This is what we have basically right now, but these are still intact and we're fixing to cut those out. So here was the 5.5 inch score, and then the 2 1/8 and the 6 3/8. Easy and also peasy. Now I'm going to take my trimmer, and what I'm going to do, because I like the fact that it's a nice straight cut instead of just using my scissors, okay? I'm going to cut right here and right here and here and here so that I cut these two rectangles out, okay? So in order to do that, I'm going to start this way. I know that it's 2 1/8 from the side, right? This score is 2 1/8 of an inch in. So I'm just going to put the left side of my cardstock at 2 1/8. And then I'm going to start from the top, probably not with my scoring tool. That would be inappropriate and not very useful. So just be sure that's straight. And I'm just going to run the cutting tool down until this guide mark hits this cross score. Okay? Like that. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to place this score line on the center and this edge at 5.5, because I know that's where I did my scoring, right? So then all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come from the bottom right up to that second cut, and that's going to pull that square, that little, that is a rectangle. See, this is why, yes, this doohickey, exactly. That's why you need math in school, is so that you know that that is called a rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little tiny trick here. Let me show you. Once these are cut out, this top flap here becomes the card front. Okay, it becomes this piece. Okay, and these two wingy dingies right here become your gates. Now I'm going to tell you, if you cut that exactly at 5.5, when you go to fold this card, it's not going to lay flat. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut a smidge, and I mean like a smidge, a really smidge, off of the top of that gate. Okay, so I know that I had my card, the side of my card, at 5.5, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat it in, like, let's go with, it's like a 32nd, you could call it a 16th if you wanted, but you're really just kind of shaving off some top, okay? And I promise you, you can either do that when you first build the card, or you can do it when you realize that you needed to do that to make your card work. Okay, so let's go the other direction. And if you're really good and you feel confident with it, you could, of course, do your 5.5 and then you do your cheating, but that's too much for me. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do it again. Put the left edge at 5.5, and then I'm going to put the guide right at this score line and go up. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to put, let's see, how's the best way? Oh, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go this way and put the left edge at 2 1/8. Okay, and then we just put the guide at the score line and go like so, and done. And then we'll cut off our little smidge, midge. Whatchamacallit. That's exactly correct. It is the whatchamacallit. Okay. So now I'm going to do my little smidge. So I'm going to 5.5, and then I'm just kind of cheating it in just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. You're truly just shaving the top off of that. I mean, you can see it's really not very much. And I totally just borked that. Now, maybe I could make a fun fold with this. That'll learn me. That will learn me to try and talk while I'm trying to cut. Hey, let's do that again. This will be like a bonus round for you, just in case you didn't catch it the first time around. So we're gonna score at 5.5, and then I'm cracking myself up. And then we're gonna turn it and score at 2 1/8, and again at 6 3/8. Okay, there we go. Now let's try this again. Yes, oh, Mary can make mistakes with appalling regularity. Okay, so now I'm gonna shut up and I'm going to make my card. I mean, I've only got like a whole pack of early espresso. At some point I need to get the card made and not keep wasting card fronts. All right, so putting the left side at 2 1/8 and coming up to the score line, and then we'll cut like so. And then we're gonna turn it, put it at 5.5, and go to the score line and cut. Okay. And that should have done it. And then I'm gonna just do a little bit in, shaving it off. I'm not even looking at comments because I'm afraid I'll mess it up again, okay? So if you're making a comment, I'm apologizing right off the bat for not watching. Okay, so let's be sure we do this right this time. Okay, so I'm cutting, no, I'm cutting this one off. Stop it, Mary. Good Lord, girl. Okay, there we go. 5.5. Maybe I should let Karen do these. I don't know. I'm not doing so good. All right, and then we're gonna go at 2 1/8, and we're gonna come from the bottom up. Yes, yes. 2 1/8. Okay. Let's just double check that, shall we? Yes. And then meet that other piece. And in theory, oh, phew, phew. Thank goodness I have some extra cardstock left over. Okay, I'm gonna figure out something. I'm gonna figure out something to do with that. Okay, now I needed to shave off a little bitty bit right here. And so I'm gonna do my 5.5 and shave it off right there like that. Okay. Like that. Okay, good. Now, let's see what we got. All right, now this is where, when you do shaving, sometimes you get a little rough edge, so it's always handy to have a little craft sander to smooth everything off. I promise you, no matter how good your trimmer is, no matter how sharp, if you're doing little shavings off like that, then you're gonna have a rough edge, I promise. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to fold down my card front, and we'll give that a little boyish, and the crowd goes wild. Yes, it only took her 12 tries, but she finally got it. And then we're going to fold the gates in, and then we're going to fold this gate in. And then we're going to do a fit check, and if it doesn't fold, guess what we're going to do? We're going to shave a little more. It did, however, so we're good to go. All right. I could, in fact, shave that just the tiniest bit more, would make me even happier, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little sanding just to give it, just to barely take any off. Okay. Good to go. Okay, now let's make us a card front. I have a piece of the World of Good Specialty DSP, and it is the same size. It's the exact same size as my card front, and I'm going to adhere that with liquid glue. Let's see, what is it? Just needs a little extra pressure. I don't even want to know what you guys are talking about. And it is about a 1/16 of an inch, or a little bit less, Karen. Okay, here we go. And we're just going to adhere that to the card front, lining up the top and the edges, like so. Now, have you guys heard the adage from the construction people? Cut to fit and then fix it? Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's a little bit, because you know, so here's what happens. Let me explain this to you. When you have a 5.5 inch and you fold it, you lose a little bit at the top. But if you cut a 5.5 inch card front, it's going to be a little big, right? So all you got to do is put your fold at 5.5 inches and do a little trimmy trim on the bottom. And if you have the similar issue over here, you could just set the whole card at 4 1/4, 4 1/4, and trim the side off like that. Okay, all right. So there is the card front. All right. Now, before you joined, I embossed a piece of Bumblebee cardstock in the the brand new Old World paper embossing folder, which is wonderful. You know what this does is it makes it look like you took your piece of paper and wadded it up and then spread it out. So it's all kind of wrinkly-fied. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crumb cake ink and a sponge, and I'm just going to kind of sponge the top here like this. And all that's really doing is just kind of drawing out that those embossed pieces, right? So it's not very much, and if you were looking at it, and since you are through a camera, it's entirely possible you can't even hardly see that I've done anything. Okay, but you could tell if you saw this card in person, or cards and whatever. All right, so there you go. So that just brings out that embossing. You could do that, Julie, but that's higher math for me, obviously, tonight. So if you can think it through so that you know which way to take the extra, do you take off or do you add? That's the trick. So the safest way to do it, regardless of the fact that I borked the first one, the safest way to do it is cut it in 5 1/2, figure out where your gates are, and then take a little bit off of the top of the gate. But that's just me. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down by tearing it, and I want it to be about 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, so I'm just going to tear it. It started out as about 4, so I want it to come down to 3 1/2. So, you know, I'm just taking a little off. It's not all that exact. Let me tell you a little trick about tearing. Once you start tearing toward you like that, you want to keep doing it that way all the way around the panel. Because when you change directions of the tear, so like here you can see the torn piece is up. If I turned this and I started tearing away from me, the torn piece would be down. So this torn edge would look different than this torn edge, which no self-respecting antique piece of paper has different edges. No. So once you start a direction, it can be either one you want, but once you start a direction, pick that one and go with it, okay? That's just my little tip to you. You're welcome. Okay. So we're doing that, and I'm going to be happy with that just because that's how I'm going to roll. And then we're going to take some liquid glue and adhere this to the card front. All right. So have y'all read the Outlander series? I'm just asking for a friend, because no, I'm not. I'm just asking because I'm curious. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's very good. It's a great series. And if you're a reader, it's wonderful when you get the book. Like, each book is like this thick, which means that once you're hooked, you've got a long way before it's over. And then there's like 8 of them. And so you just know that you have all this wonderful time with this wonderful story that just is sweeping and wonderful. It's really wonderful. I love it. I love it. Okay. Now, I've cut a bunch of globes and also a globe stand. This is new brass foil. Did you know we have brass foil coming with this suite? Yeah. Hello. Brass foil. So that is what this is cut from. And then I've got a couple in Mossy Meadow. And then I made 8 in crumb cake. And I can see that I've got a few little hanging chads. So I'm going to get rid of my hanging chads here. Now, this set has a North American die, but it also has the other half of the universe. You can see that. So you can pick whichever one suits the card that you're making. Isn't that fun? All right, get rid of my hanging chads. And we're going to make what looks like an embossed card front. Now, I got this idea from the catalog, and it took me a second. I was looking for the embossing folder that embossed these globes, and then I was like, oh no, duh. Duh. Wouldn't it be fun if there was an embossing folder that did that, and you didn't have to glue all these globes to your piece of cardstock? That would be cool. Yes, yes, it's clean and simple layered. It's layered, clean and simple. That's a thing. That's a thing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And because my look how subdued and clean my DSP is. I mean, really. Oh, Julie, the series is good. Now, I will tell you, it depends. My mom did not like it. She read the whole series of books, and she had a picture in her head of the people, and apparently the actors that were selected didn't match that at all. So it just depends on how you roll. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to adhere these. They're cut from crumb cake, and I'm going to adhere them to a crumb cake card base. And I'm just going to lay them out like this. And I cut my this piece of cardstock bigger than I need. So I'm going to lay these out, and then I'm going to cut it down to the 3.5 by 4.5 that I want. Okay? Does that to make a sense to you? TV shows are never right after reading the book. Yeah, it totally just depends on your vision. And I can tell you that the actor who plays Jamie, who's the lead male character, that actor, when in the first year, the first season of the series, he didn't do it for me at all. It didn't fit what I thought. In the meantime, however, as the series has progressed and he has grown up, yeah, he's grown up to be very fine. Not at all painful to look at him for a binge watch, I can just say. Okay, I'm going to put this on one of my little silicone sheets here because I'm fixing to glue, and I don't want glue everywhere. You know what they look like. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all get these things in our head, and I had it too. And when I first saw the series, I was like, well, you know, but I was so excited to have all of that kind of come to life for me on the little screen that I dealt with it. Unfortunately, we don't have a Starz subscription, so I only can watch it when Starz is free. And if you're like me, once you start a series, I kind of want to see the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And so it was disappointing at best. So then when our cable people had this watch-a-thon thing this weekend, I started watching it, and even Wayne is hooked now. So we've been kind of binging it, and it's been fun. But I understand. I saw somebody left a comment that it's all going to end here after season 5, and they haven't even started back to season 6 yet because of, oh yeah, the COVID crisis. Stupid COVID crisis. what's the setting? Okay, so Kathy, here's kind of the thing. The premise is Claire, who's the lead female person. She is a World War II combat nurse, and she and her new husband, Frank, go on their honeymoon to Scotland. So it's like right after the war. So, 1947, 48, I think it was, that they were there. And she ends up going through a circle of stones. Okay, so suspend your disbelief a little bit. And she is transported 200 years in the past to Scotland, where she meets Jamie Fraser, or Fraser, as she says, Fraser. What ensues is a romance that is, he is the love of her life and vice versa, and it is really good. And my mom told me to read this book. I read the first book way back when we were still, we were still in New Mexico. So back in the, too long ago. And I picked it up and I read like a chapter and I was like, oh, this is so dumb. I don't even like it. And I put it down. And a few months later, I was out of books and I picked that book back up. This was pre-Kindle, so it was an actual book. I picked the book up and I made myself get past that first chapter and I was done. I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop reading. So, yeah, it's really good. I will tell you, you want to figure out what the order of go is and you want to read them in order because they do build on each other and the characters go from book to book and the plot goes from book to book as well. So, it's in the late 40s is when it starts, Amy, and then it progresses forward. So at some points in it, it skips back because, yeah, I'm not going to give it all away, but it does end up doing some skipping between 200 years ago and current day, which for the book is the 60s. But it's just a great story. It's a great story. And there's a lot of history in it. So if you're especially towards the latter parts of the books, you get some real American history going, and it's pretty interesting. I'm just waiting for that glue to kind of set up so that I can trim that down. And so I'm going to go ahead. I have another globe. This one is Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to adhere it to the circle. Now these are all dies in the world map die. So I cut this. The circle is this die, and then of course the globe, and then this is the stand that we made. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this together right now while we're waiting. Outlander. The first book is called Outlander, and then it goes to Dragonfly and Amber and on through the series. But the first one is called Outlander. And the author is Diana Gabaldon, Gabaldon. Yeah. That's the series that I actually, even though I had the whole series of books, I actually bought the Kindle version. And I'm not going to say I've gone back to reread them, but I've totally gone back to reread them because I just enjoyed them that much. Now, I will just tell you straight up, in case you're worried about such things, the Scots were a body group. Let's just say that. There are definite scenes of, marital pastimes. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so I just used a little liquid glue and I adhered my brass foil stand to the globe, and it can sit quietly and do its thing while I trim this down. Okay, now I want this trimmed down to 3.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to kind of come equidistant in so that I can kind of keep my globes sort of centered, if you will. Okay, so when I cut this, I cut it at 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down to there, And I'm just going to cut. And then I'll turn it over and I'm going to cut part of the top off at about 4 3/4, like so. And then we'll start trimming it down to size here. So 3.5 by 4.5 is the end result here. We'll have to check these books out and do a little research. Oh yes, I think, is the book series complete? Yes, I believe it is. I believe that she is complete. Although I thought I saw, she's done a few spin-offs. Some series, there's a couple of characters in the book. Lord John is one of the main characters in the book, and she did kind of a mini series for him that I have not read. I don't know why. I guess because I'm too cheap to buy the books. That's probably what it is. Okay, now I'm going to make my last cut down to get this to 4.5. And then we'll be ready to adhere it. All right. So now that's what we have. It looks like an embossed card front, when of course it is not. But that's what happens when you do die cuts tone on tone like that. So fun. Now I'm going to pop this on with some dimensionals. You knew I'd get some dimensionals here sooner or later, right? I promise we will be done tonight. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I got off yakking about a book. For goodness sake. For goodness sake, Mary. And I've been yakking this whole time and just haven't even let you guys talk. I forget the plot. I like to read a series of, oh yeah, exactly. Because there's nothing worse, actually. Hey, Lori, there's actually nothing worse than getting to the end of one, and they are straight up leave you hanging because she knows the next one's coming. So it's always nice when you have the next one in hand, which is also the fun of binge watching the series. You can, and I'll tell you what, they've actually done a pretty good job with the series, I think. I mean, it's not exact. You couldn't. The series would be 7,000 episodes if you tried to make it exact to 8 ginormous books, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. And the dude that plays Jamie has become quite fancy. Okay, remember, this is a globe that has an obvious up and down, so, just me, put it on right side up or wrong side down. And we're just going to put it at a little angle right there. Okay? Easy enough. All right, now I have a couple of pieces of ribbon. One is the Bumblebee ribbon. This is the 2020-2022 in color ribbon. It's 1/4 inch wide. And I'm going to use a length of it. Lots of fun stuff going on now that all the entertainment. Oh, yeah. I'll bet. They probably do have some good stuff going on. All right, so I'm just cutting a length, no rhyme or reason, just it's a T-lar, that looks about right. And then I have a piece of the woven ribbon. This is a real loosely woven ribbon from the Forever Greenery set. And I'm going to cut another length of it as well. And I made them kind of uneven lengths because that just seemed like the thing to do. And I'm gonna take a little snail, which is sitting right in front of me somewhere. Wait a minute. Wait for it. Oh, it's right here. Good Lord. And I'm going to just run a piece of the snail across my card front, about where I want my ribbon, to adhere it down. And we'll make that straight so that it looks sort of straight when I put it on there. And then we'll do a second piece for my second piece of ribbon. All right. Okay, setting that aside, I've got a piece of Bumblebee. Sure you do. And I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp my sentiment. Not because, well, I guess the real reason is because I want it to be dark enough. Oh, is she really, Robbie? I did not know that at all. And I saw that movie, but I sure didn't put it together. Spending more on books and Stampin' Up than bills. Yeah. Okay. So that is why I used my Stamp-N-Lingers, was because I want to be able to get a nice, good image there. Okay, now we'll set that aside and pull this out. Close my mossy meadow before I have an accident. And I'm going to use the die from the Tasteful Label set here to cut this out. So I will be right back. I'll be right back. And I'm just going to cut this out, and we're going to be just about done-ski with the front ski. Done-ski with the front ski. Well, we're going to make a little bow. And then we'll be done-ski with the front ski. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now, before I get going here, let's take my globe that I made earlier, and we're going to adhere it with some liquid glue. Like about there. Delivery time is 9 p.m. tonight, but that darn oh, I know it. I know it. The deliveries have been insane. Just crazy. And that's the good and the bad about that tracking thing, right? Is you can see it is great, but you can see it is awful, because it's like, dude, what are you doing? Are you eating donuts? Okay, so I'm going to make a double loop bow, and this is linen thread. Let me show you how to do this. Hold the end between your thumb and forefinger, and then we're going to wrap around your 4 fingers 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to wrap around 2 fingers 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then just cut that. Keep holding it. Don't let it go. Do not let it go. Important to not let it go. All right. And then you just kind of push the 2 sides together and give a twist, creating a little figure 8, and you grab it with the reverse tweezers that I know you all have purchased, and then we're going to just tie a little strand around there to hold it together, and that's going to be our bow. Who's not getting their bills paid first? I don't understand. I know they go to all the places. No, you know what, Mary? I thought that too, but recently I have come to discover that if you pay for second day air, they put it on the truck in Peachtree City, which is like 8 miles from me. And then they go to everybody in between there and here, regardless of their time. So my is supposed to be here by 10:30, has been here by 2 or 3, the last 2 or 3 times. And apparently that is acceptable. So, you know, never count on a delivery anymore. Not during this current crisis. There you go, Karen. These are the bestest. These are the bestest. Okay, now I'll take a glue dot and adhere this to the card front, if I can find a glue dot on my roll. Okay. Get off of there, and we'll put it right about there. Okay, and then we're going to adhere this over the top with some dimensionals. Easy peasy, nice and squeezy. And we'll get these cut. You'll be glad to know there's plenty of dimensionals used in this card. So I know, Kathy, it's so frustrating. It is just so stinking frustrating. I can't even begin to tell you. Because then I don't know if it's the way the app updates or what, but it's like they sit there, they'll sit at a place forever. And I know that's not true, because that's just not how UPS rolls, right? But but it sure feels like it. And I think it's part of the a watched truck never delivers thing. You know, the more you want it and the faster you want it and the harder you watch it, the less likely it is to deliver anytime soon. That's my theory. Especially if you're waiting on something that you really are excited to see, right? Like, oh, I don't know, your pre-order or something like that. Okay. All right, there we go. And yes, they are called EK Success or EK Tools, absolutely. So that is the card front. And if this wasn't going to be a clean and simple card, I'd put like maybe one of the enamel dots on there. But since it's clean and simple, I'm not going to. All right, now let's go ahead and do our gates. And I was going to show you something. I've got 2 pieces of Bumblebee for the mats. And I'm using this map paper. And so what I did, and you don't have to do this, it's just an extra little thing. I've cut it. I know that I want, this is a 5 3/8 inch long mat, so I want a 5 1/4 inch long piece of DSP, and it's 2 inches wide, so I want 1 7/8 wide. So what I did, because this is a continuous image, I cut left to right so that I could put the gates on and make them look like they were the same. Okay, so 5 3/8 already, and I'm cutting 1 7/8 and 1 7/8. Obviously, if your paper doesn't do that, you don't need to bother with it. But if your paper does do that, and you can get it done, then why not? Why not? Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Carol. Yes, the pre-order. Yep. The more you want it, the longer it takes to arrive. It's just my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I think, guess how much UPS cares about how much you want your stuff. I think these days, I'll tell you what though, the only thing worse than UPS right now is FedEx. FedEx has driven us batty these last few weeks. Just crazy. I cannot tell you how many pounds of Omaha steaks have been thrown in the trash because they just didn't deliver it. Just insane. Not good at all. Okay, so I'm getting these adhered. And then I'm going to make sure I have an idea. Look at that. There's Mount Rainier. Yeah, look. Aw, I've got Washington. And there's Olympia. Aw. Wait. Tacoma, Seattle, Vancouver. There's Vancouver right there. Okay. Now, let me be sure I get this right. It goes this way. And I'm just adhering these with liquid glue to my gates. Easy peasy. Nice and squeezy. Okay. Don't you love Bumblebee and Early Espresso? That is so pretty. Nice. It's kind of a fall-y color scheme. A la Crushed Curry and Early Espresso. So you'll want to remember it when fall time comes around. There's your house. You saw your house? I know, Amy. It is. It is a sign. It's a sign. Okay. Let me put my lid on my glue so my glue remains glue and not a glue mess. And then I'll pull out my Stamp-N-Lingers and I'm going to stamp a second sentiment on my Whisper White card stock in Mossy Meadow. Mossy Meadow. Let people that make the purple promise know. They don't care. I mean, literally, they don't care. What they said, this is almost a direct quote. We can't get drivers to come in because of the COVID-19. They won't come because they're afraid of getting sick. Okay, well, here's a thought. Stop accepting shipments into that distribution center. If you can't deliver stuff that is sensitive next day because it's packed, it's, you know, $80 worth of steaks, and it's packed in dry ice and doesn't need to thaw, then you probably should quit taking in deliveries. My friend had a FedEx overnight and she got it, but apparently that's because it came from a different spot. So that was, you know, cool. All right, let's see. Now somewhere here in this Hoorah's nest is my crumb cake. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to use the compass. This is a compass right here, and I'm going to stamp it in crumb cake. And I'm going to try to, because it just bugs me that way. Except, oh my God, I'm getting so stinking blind. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm going to try, I've tried to make it, I wanted north up, just because that makes me happy. And I'm going to stamp it right over the sentiment like that. And then I will stamp my quill down here in the bottom corner. Like so. And I'm going to add the ink, and you know what? I'm going to, yeah, I know, did you see? You didn't even see that. Okay, you all saw that. Dang it. Yeah, I did. I totally stuck my finger in the green. Okay, I'm just adding the quill to the front of my envelope while I've got it out. Yes, it's true. I am the tidiest crafter ever. No. Not even a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take this inkwell and I'm stamping it in Mossy Meadow, like so, and like so, like that, just like that. That's how it's done. They now send me texts and emails before they come. Yeah. Amazon has been very good. I mean, you know, what are you going to say about Amazon? They kind of rock. They rock the Casbah. Now, I'm just double checking this because I've apparently had some issues with measuring today. So, I'm putting this on a bumblebee mat. And I'm hopefully not getting any ink on the other side where I did not want it. Where I did not want it. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and put it on the inside of our card base. We don't need that hanging Chad on there. Come here. Okay. So I'm thinking I probably need to buy some attractive face masks, since apparently that's going to be like a fashion statement now. Apparently, we're gonna have to have a, you know, a face mask for going out and a face mask for going to the movies. So I think I need to buy some face masks. And then, of course, there's so many different kinds of face masks. Who knows which one is the best? My certain surety is that none of them actually are going to work, and so, you know, what the heck. Okay, so there is our card. And I'm just going to add a little more of the DSP to the envelope flap. And then we will be done-ski. We will be done-ski. You can tell I've left this open way too much this evening because it had that little crust around the edge, the one that says you should close me when you're not using me. Now we'll make sure that the United States is correctly placed, right side up. Pretty sure if I turned it upside down it would indicate I was in distress. Oh wait, no, that's just the flag. Okay. And then we'll fussy cut this like so. Alrighty, and that, my friends, is going to be that. And look at that, still under an hour, even having to make the card base twice. All right, and there we go. What do you think? I love this little hidden gate card. So fun. It stands up just like a regular card, but then there's a fun little surprise on the inside. I love it. Thank you, Karen, for sharing this wonderful fun fold card with me. All right, guys, a Pitbull mask. I like it. Do you mean Pitbull the rapper or Pitbull the dog? That's just my question. Okay, guys, I will see you Thursday at 1 o'clock on my YouTube channel, I hope. And I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend and a good week, either teleworking or getting back into going to work every day. Don't forget to put your makeup on if that's how you roll. And we'll see you next time. Appreciate your day. See ya. Bye. Aw.